Hello, this is my attempt at reviewing and analyzing and breaking down this new world record that Tassos and Boz and William Prod were doing. I'm going to try and break down as many of the techniques as I can think of, as there have been a great deal of advancements in this record on the light waves, allowing for some codes that have only been theorized to be possible under the most convenient possible RNG outcomes. You need the luckiest healers possible in order to pull off these codes, and they made some strategies to mitigate that to a very large extent. I'll start with the earlies here. These ones don't have they have some advancements, but not anything nearly as crazy because earlies have existed in leeches for a really long time now. Here we already see the diagonal layers here popping up. Axley here is blocking this from the north, and Boz here on the south, so we got this diagonal layer going on here. Any kind of lure like this, it can come from the northeast to the southwest, it can come from the northwest to the southeast. These two diagonal layers will work perfectly, but not the other way around. So it has to be coming from north to south. They are going to be using a lot of that for these lures. So Exley's going to kill this healer. Boz is going to bring it down. And then he's going to trap it at the last second to stop it from moving. And that's a little bit of micro technology to have the eggs spawn a little bit faster. When the healer is standing still, it'll drop eggs faster than if it were moving. And to make that make sense, just think about a fighter or a ranger. You want to, if you're going to force a wave and you got to kill the fighter or a ranger, you want to have it be standing still, because if it's moving, it's going to take longer to die. The healer counts as dead in terms of kill credit as soon as it reaches 0 HP. It's different from the fighter ranger in that regard, but for the purposes of these wave 2 and wave 3s, they're trying to get the eggs on the ground as fast as possible, so it's the same kind of thing. He's trying to lure it to this tile so that the healer stands there and it dies one tick faster because it's standing and not moving. And he uses the claws to get the eggs from all possible situations where the eggs can spawn. That's pretty standard. And the two other people shoot while Boz calls for the attacker for 36. This is all normal stuff. And wave 3, it's going to appear something similar here. This casting a spell on the Helios triggers a red X. This will become very, very important starting on wave 5. This red X stuff is the same sort of red X stuff that you would do, that you would find. The most common example I can think of is something like killing God Wars, where you have methods where you bowfang or T-bowing, where you're clicking the door or the altar, setting up a red X on the boss. What that accomplishes specifically is that when you red X a monster and then go somewhere else in a red X, that allows you to walk through the monster, and for at least one tick, that monster will not move, even while you're standing under it. Normally when you walk under something, it tries to move to attack you. When you do this kind of specific red X, that prevents it from moving. And that's why those strats, like the God War strats and these strats, work as they do. This was thought of in about 2020 to a significant degree by Hendy. He has a video called Red Clicking Healers in Barbarian Assault. That video is classic. This is the next series step from that video. And they use it to an extreme degree here. Boz is going to be able to use this healer and navigate just about anywhere he wants using the Red X technique. Right here for the earlies, it's not a big deal. All he's going to do is here. As this healer dies, he stands on this tile just to make sure that he doesn't so that the healer stays still as it dies, as I mentioned previously. That way he can get the blue as fast as possible. Not that it really matters here. He has to wait a long time before shooting the blue. That's just some neat little leech stuff that they thought of, which is pretty cool. It sets up the craziness later on. Wave 4 is pretty standard. You don't need to do anything crazy. This red X is totally unnecessary, but Boz will do something cool here. Starting from the 18. And this is where it gets serious. Not on wave 4 specifically, but this technique. This is the basis of the entire round. What Boz does is he moves from here to here, and then flowers in the very next tick. In terms of what happens in a tick, first the NPCs move. And then what happens after that is the players move. I'll just write Boz. And Tassos too also. What happens when you do it normally, this happens normally on like something like wave Cape 5 in normal runs. The 30 might come down here and the healer might poison it. And if it's on the healer, collector will be like boom, boom, block it. But it's not foolproof, because if this healer decides to insta-bounce on the same tick as Boz blocks this tile, the NPC, the healer, always has priority. So even though Boz is going there on the same tick, the NPC is going to go first and it's going to insta-bounce all over the place. However, we got a special caveat here. Flowers happen even earlier than the NPC moves, which changes this entire interaction. If this healer decided to instant bounce, but Boz flowers on the same tick instead of moving, that automatically increases his priority from number 2 back to number 0. So even if this healer tries to bounce, the flowers happen so fast in the tick that the NPC doesn't even have time to process it. And from its perspective, Boz is already standing here because he flowered. That prevents this healer from insta-bouncing, and it's going to be the basis of the entire round. Every single healer is gonna get blocked by multiple flowers and multiple blocks on the very first tick possible. It should be noted that Exley makes a mistake. This is not the tile you want to stand on. This is the tile you want to stand on for the 30 spawn on wave 4. Because if he guesses, he has to guess 2 food because he doesn't know what the call is. If this healer insta-bounces northwest, and he gets the first food wrong and it's the second food, then he's going to poison it late and it's going to be a 45 best. What he has to do is he has to stand here so that the healer comes to him, and then if he guesses wrong, then the healer doesn't go nearly as far and you can still poison it in time with the second food if your first food is wrong. That's a slight misplay on Exley's part. The 30 is even on him, but it doesn't instant bounce. He got lucky, but this is 42, no problem. Wave 5 is where stuff starts to get criminally insane, because this is where we get to the late wave mechanics. Boz is going to showcase why this red X is so powerful. First, he uses a spell on it to initiate it. Did you see him click right there? Let me go back. Right there, he blocks the penance cave. You have to do some kind of red click when you want to navigate through a healer. He's standing here. Look at this black true tile of the healer. Boz is standing here, and the healer's standing right there in the black tile, what's going to happen is that Exley's going to poison it from this tile 1 north of Boz. And this is going to initiate a block, which is different than how a Vertex usually works. How a Vertex usually works is that, assuming there's no other player involvement, as soon as after you cast a spell, you're ready to go. After you want to click somewhere such that you path onto the same tile as the healer, and then you go diagonal. Because if you go in a straight line, then the healer can walk next to you, and it'll poison you. However, if you go in a diagonal, then the closest it can get to you is a diagonal away, but it can't poison you if it's a diagonal away. It has to be adjacent. That's why you have to move diagonal. But this is not what Boz does, because they theory crafted this, or maybe they noticed this and it was just a lucky break. I'm gonna go on the theory crafted it. So look at this. Pay attention to the true tile of this healer. As soon as Boz, or rather, look at Boz's true tile first. So he's gonna go on top of the healer, and then instead of going diagonal, instead of going here, his true tile becomes here. But he was standing here, and this is not diagonal whatsoever. So this shouldn't work. But the reason it does work is because he and Exley are pathing at the same time. And instead of going diagonally to poison him, the healer, the 6-second healer, it gets blocked by Exley. Look at this frame. The healer was standing here, and then Boz moved to this tile, and Exley moved to this tile. If Exley wasn't here, this 6-second healer would go to this northwest tile and poison Boz and lose the lure. But because Exley is standing right here, it counts as a 1-tick block, so this healer goes to this tile instead. It creates a gap between him and Boz, so that Boz can lure all the way up north. That's cool. Meanwhile, Tassos is doing this strat, which is a never before seen strat. It's like a combination of like the War on Terror defending, which is when you click the dispenser instantly and then OS call as you're walking. He's not OS calling in game, he's doing it in a voice call with them. Here, look at this. So wave 4 ends, Tassos is here. Clicks on the dispensary, voice calls. If he wasn't voice calling, he'd have to call. He goes east. When I made this strat initially, where you go to the dispenser instantly, you're supposed to go up here, up mid, up this line, and then drop the main stack and then run all the way east like that. That's so that you can lure the 12-second down the wall. But Tassos was like, that's not good enough for me. I need to drop food at the trap on top. And the reason this is harder is because of one click. He dropped the trap food, he drops 3 main stack, and he clicks east on the very same tick. The way it's normally done is you walk along this line here. You can path to this tile so that you can drop the main, you can click here and then drop the main stack as you're running and then run to this tile after, like this line here. That's still going as far east as possible while making the main stack easy to drop, but Tassos is deliberately doing it the harder way so that he can get the advantage of also dropping this trap food before dropping the main stack. So I'll play that in full motion again. He's dropping these worms, and then he's dropping this main stack and going east in the same tick. That way, even though this healer's on him, it goes straight down the wall. And Exley can poison it just fine. So going back here. This is the thing that Tassos is doing. The 12 seconds on him, so Exley can just poison it. Meanwhile, Boz did the loop around with the red X with the Exley block on top to create the gap, and then he pathed all the way around up here and then back around here. So this 6-second lure is on Boz from the south, and Boz luring like this. And then this 12-second healer is on the north, and it's lured by Tassos to the south, so it's like perfectly lured backward, and the healer's just chilling in the middle, poisoning everything. Now when the 18 spawns, This is where it gets crazy, because they have to react whether or not it's on Exley or not. And then they move it to the east if it's on them, and then if it's on Exley, they do this flower stuff, where they drop flowers to prevent it from insta bouncing in any direction. Even this, and then the 24 spawn. This is crazy. Exley goes up here, and then Tassos. Look at this. I'll describe what I mean when I say this is a. They look at who the healer's on and react in the same tick. So Boz is standing here. The healer spawns. He has to see who it's on. Tassos is already going north and flowering instantly, so he gets trapped here, so the healer cannot bounce north. If this 24 spawn was on Exley, then what Boz would do is he would instantly run out this side and then flower to this tile, so that it can't bounce in any direction because Tassos covers the north, and Boz covers the west, and Exley himself covers the south. But in this situation, the 24 Boz saw was on him, which means he doesn't need to do any of that, because it's going to be guaranteed lurk. Not to mention, there is an RP going on here. This one specifically. This healer, he sees that it's on Tassos, and by going north here, it gets blocked here. Just a little cherry on top. Funny strat. Look at that, you see how it slides in there right to the south? And he gets the shield at 30. And here, these runners are also funny. Because this 30 runner needs to be blocked, and the attacker's not going to do it. Both Tassos and Boz are ready to block this runner. And they decide in real time, based on who this 30 is aggroing, who's going to block the runner and who's going to stay down and lure the healer. So they're slightly offset here. Look at how they're just slightly offset, the two of them. So you could tell the 30 based on the very slight separation of angles here. You can tell who it's facing, even though Tassos and Boss are on the same exact tile, because they have different character like momentums. The animation is like playing at slightly different speeds because Tassos started moving a little bit earlier, so he had some animation queued up with his movement. It changes his character the way it looks, but the tile is the same. But he can see which way the healer's facing, and by that, Tassos saw that it was on him. Based on this slight angle, it would be a very, very slightly different angle if it was on Boz. That's why Boz is the one to block the runner, and Tassos sees that and he goes back to the trap to lure this healer. And then Boz is here in time to multi the runners. But Tassos goes there anyway. I'm actually not sure if Boz made it in time. Yeah, I don't think Boz made it in time, so Tassos made the play of, let me lose this healer to the east, and then it will reload onto a runner as I multi these runners. With the northwest food to get the 46.2 east runner on top. Wave 6. They're going for a 54.6, 55.2 here. It's going to be the same start every wave with this collector stuff. And the reason you do this, instead of just luring to the south, or luring to the wall rather, because like this is what people normally do, you stand here, lure to the wall. The reason you do this is because you get a 12.0 poison, and that saves 1 food worth of damage. If you poison it on the wall and you do this big 6x stock, you're gonna poison it at like 10.8 at least. Actually, no, sorry, not 10.8. 13.8 at least. Or maybe I think 13.2 actually. If it's on the wall, you poison it at 13.2. But if you poison it down here, then it's 12.0. So if this is trying to get a 30 spawn, the auto poisons are going to be like what? 15, 18, 21, 24, 27, and 30. Whereas if you poison it on the wall, it's 13.2. It's all plus 1 second. So when this ticks at 27, this is going to tick at 28. But if you want to kill it by 30, then you get 1 extra tick of poison damage at 30 itself. But if you poison at the wall, that would happen at 31, and that would be too late, so you need to put an extra food in it, and that's where the extra food comes from. And Tassos is doing the same thing here. This time, what he's going to do is, this 12-second healer is on him. Boz is going to the north. Exily poisons it for the first time here, and then he gets dragged here because of the residual pathing. Actually, well, not because of the residual pathing, because Tassos is traveling this way. So the healer, it starts off here and then goes 1, 2, 3. Tassos Exily poisons it here. And then Tassos is still running to the east wall, so it's going to go here. And then Tassos is going to run to this tile and then flower to have priority to block it totally. And Boz is going to do the same thing, but on this tile to flower it here. So still get the triple block on the 12-second. And this, I believe, is permaless, in the sense that no matter who it's on, you're going to do the same thing. Because even if it's on you, and you lose it here, because you flower, the healer is still going to literally get stuck even though you just lost it from a different tile. The healer pushes you into it, so it literally makes it stuck. So yep, there it is. Boz goes up there, Tassos picks up the flower there. This is where we get this is where it gets funny. Boz cannot stay up here the entire time, because when the 18 happens, it could just be on him and ruin everything. So he travels down here to gain some distance from the 18 here, but if he travels down here, it loses the lure because Exily is no longer blocking. The 6 seconds gonna go around here. But wait a minute, Tassos is here coming with the hero block right there. So now there's a wall right here, and Boz can chill on this tile again, and just he's fine because the 6 second hero is getting blocked. And then as soon as it gets relured, because it's on Tassos, he's gonna trap it behind Exily on reaction. He said it's on him, so it goes behind Exily on reaction. Now, Boz knows that this block is gonna no longer be there, so he's gonna go back into position and keep the 6 second lure like this. And here, you saw Boz like follow Tassos there. I'm not totally sure what that's for, but I'm guessing is that there's another reaction in terms of who it's on, and then Tassos will react and move to whatever tile he needs to go to, and then by following him, Boz will also move to the right tile that he needs to be on in relation to where Tassos went. So like wherever Tassos goes, and Boz follows him, that set of 2 tiles will be the right 2 tiles, and Tassos will like lead like where that's supposed to go. That's my guess. Yep, and then Tassos. This is a cool thing that Tassos does too. So in this 24 spawns, Tassos is here. He goes to northeast for 1 tick, and because he's going to be standing here, the healer is going to treat that as a block, and it's going to go this way. And then when it tries to go on Exily, it's going to go 1 tile east again because he's going to poison it from this tile. And then as soon as that happens, Tassos is going to go 1 north and create a double block here with the other 2 parts of the wall blocking it on all 4 shots like that. Goes 2 tiles, healer gets blocked for 1 tick more to the east. Exily poisons it from the south, and then it's blocked on 2 sides on the wall, Exily, and then Boz blocks in on the west side after that. And then this insta bounces. What can you do about that? It's a kind of a 50-50 because I think Tassos is off screen getting logs. He like after the 24 he went south around the cannon and then come at the other side and grabbed logs. So I don't think he's learning the 30 there. Now Exley is gonna go to the west cannon here to dodge aggro from the 36 spawn. And Boz is gonna stack these lords in a very specific way. There's a bit of a misplay here. Exley was not supposed to poison it here. What's supposed to happen is he was supposed to poison it here with the reserve, the RPs coming this way, and then the reserve coming this way to create a diagonal like that. And that did not go to plan for some reason. Probably because the 30 bounced right there. But Boz is just gonna improvise some kind of lure here, and they're gonna get a 58.8, which is pretty weak. Top of the bad killers, that's tough. Wave 7 is where they start using the snow globe. I don't know what this like specific path thing is for, like where he goes like boom, 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 boom. I don't know why he needed to do all that. Like why couldn't he just like stand here and chill for until the snow happens? That's a mystery to me. But he does that, gets the Redix in there. Does the same old start. This snow is for Tassos because he drops a flower right here. In order to make the 12 second go even more to the east. This is a thing that B5 thought of, called the Garden of Eden. And that allows the healer to be like drifting. You see how it's angled? It's pretty cool. And the previous one where he did like the war and terror kind of stock, the healer started boom, and then boom. Or no, sorry. It went just forward one tile, and then it went diagonal, diagonal, diagonal. Sorry. Forward, diagonal, diagonal, diagonal like that. But when you do it with the flower and the snow with the red X, then it spawns here, then it goes 1, 2, and 3 like this, which allows the healer to poison it from the same exact tile. In the sense that, look, Exley poisons it. Instead of poisoning it from this tile, like he did on wave 5 and 6, he poisoned it from this tile. And that matters because the codes on wave 7, 8, 9, and 8, 9 are... you can lose fewer ticks in those codes, so you gotta do the special strat. And Boz is gonna do the same thing. He's gonna lure it up here while flowering on the same tick as Tassos does flowers on this side, so they have a double flower block here. So this 12 second is impossible to bounce. This 6 seconds lured. They go out here, they react to who it's on. Tassos reacts to it being on him. So this 18 seconds is gonna go like this. And Boz chose here to keep and this, by the way, the same block is happening. Like, look, Boz goes down here, Tassos goes down here. This 6 seconds stays blocked, and then Tassos returns here, and Boz returns here. You're gonna see that play a lot. See how the 6 seconds still lured? And now this is crazy. I don't know what's going on here. He can't do that again for some reason. So Boz is like, okay, first I'm gonna walk here to this tile, and then he's gonna walk on top of the healer, and then by using an item on these flowers here, that's gonna somehow preserve the red X, which I don't really understand. Somehow this healer is not gonna get lost. And I don't know why. Wait a minute. I might have just figured it out in real time here. So I think I figured it out. Well, actually, I don't know. I don't know why he needed to red X there. Because I'm looking at Tassos and he's doing some stuff here. So Exley's poisoned spawn. By going from this tile to this tile, Boz is phasing Exley, but then Tassos is walking on the same tick, walking on the next tick rather, to make it so that he's the one who phases that tile so that he could leave and then go on it again with the flowers to make it more solid. And because, so what I'm trying to say is that first, Boz goes here. On the next tick, Tassos goes here. Then, Boz does this use Reddick's trick on this flower. On the next tick, Tassos plants flowers here to push himself onto this tile so that this is what I mean when I'm saying this is taking advantage of the priority of the flowers to an extreme degree. By even though Boz leaves on the previous tick, the healer does not move forward yet. It'll only move forward starting on the next tick. But Tassos intervenes by flowering at the same tick as this healer is trying to move forward. But because Tassos has priority due to the flowers, the healer doesn't move, and I think that's how Boz keeps this lure. We put that in fast motion. Boom, boom, boom. Use Tassos' phase, flowers back to avoid dropping the lure. I think that's what's going on. And then that's cute. They both Boz is running left. Or no, Boz is running right and Tassos is running left, and they're both on this column on this 30 spawn tick. That's funny. So we got a specific layer here. They differentiate who it's on between Tassos and Boz. Tassos hides for the 36 spawn and Boz gets the oh, and then Boz hides for the reeler so that Tassos can get the reeler. Boz is gonna time the distance between these healers in such a way that it's gonna be good for a diagonal lure that Exley's gonna walk into, and Tassos is gonna do the same thing on the last reserve and that other 30 spawn. Or no, this is the 30 spawn? I'm not sure. Yeah, that looks like the 24. And then Exley's spinning this in the diagonal lure. And then because this first healer, it looks dead for 63. Boz is gonna wait until this, which was a full HP, is no longer full HP, it's like half HP. He's gonna wait for that to happen to prevent these from stacking. And he's gonna let Tassos become the main diagonal layer. So this is the RP that Tassos got. That was the low HP one. This is the one that Exley just spammed, and this is the reserve that Tassos got. Boz is gonna move that to the diagonal like this. So you got a triple split here. This is funny. That was kind of crazy. And wave 8. It's gonna be a lot of the same here. It's gonna do that path thing, get the Redix in there. Tassos is gonna do the same thing. Boom, boom, boom. Boz does the path thing. They do the double flower. Tassos picks it up so that he can use the same spot later again. They do the same thing. Oh no, this one looks slightly different. Maybe it's a different reaction. So Tassos sees that it's on him. He slots it east while blocking. There's still a 1-tick block on this healer. Just enough time for it to go out, but not enough time for it to go 2 out, because if it went 2 out, then it would have been unable to slot back in. But because Exley is still here, this healer gets blocked back into the east. And Boz blocks it using these flowers here. I don't know why Boz just used the item on that thing. It makes no sense to me. Maybe there's like a potential insta bounce there, and it can only go to 1 tile maybe, so that he follows up by using an item on it. Something like, I know Masai did that a long time ago. But that's a mystery to me. So here we get a 30 Spunkas wave 8. I think Buzz is going to do the same thing as he previously did. Tassos is going to hide from that. Buzz is going to split these in such a way that they're one tile apart, which makes it perfect for the diagonal lure. He also lures the 42. You saw in the back, 42 spawned up there. Probably won that. Waits for the 42, then moves after one tick. Hopefully he's going to come up this way. Buzz gonna he sifted east for a bit to get this diagonal lure east, and then he'll do the last two west and north. East and north, yep, because after Exley killed this one, it didn't need any more food, so he sifted there. Meanwhile, Tassos multis. And this is a very interesting wave 8. Now wave 9 gets a little bit different. I don't know everything about this wave 9. This is kind of weird. So, Buzz is gonna lure this north. And I don't totally know why. Because as we saw previously, by doing the standard lure, you poison it at 12.0, which if you blew it, it'll die at 75.0, which is the time they're trying to get anyway. So I don't really see a problem with that. The only thing I can think of is that Tassos is going to shoot the blue on this wave. If he shoots, because there's two ticks where you can shoot a blue and it still ends up being good, and you want to shoot it in the first tick. But if you do it on the second tick, then that might cause the healer to die later, potentially. And that might be a problem that they had. I don't know. But Eggley's going to poison this at, look, 0.6 poison. That's kind of weird. And I don't know what's going on there. This is crazy. What just happened right there? This is crazy. Look at this. So, remember, Vaz red X this healer. What Tassos is gonna do is that he sees that it's on Exley, and he's gonna flower here to block it from the west, and Vaz is gonna block it from the north. But Vaz is gonna manage to keep the 6-second healer by red Xing onto Tassos via the follow option, the right click follow option. Which that sends Vaz right here to this tile. And remember when I said you needed to do it diagonally unless you had a healer block? We have a healer block from the opposite side because so because Eggley is standing right here, this healer, if it could access this tile and go here, it would poison Buzz and it would lose the lure. But because it doesn't, it can only go to this tile, which is a diagonal away, which means it's not close enough to poison Buzz directly on that tick. And then Bosch just manages to go back up here and trap it. And then meanwhile Tassos does the flower on the left hand side to prevent that 12-second from instant bouncing. There it is again. Tassos goes down here, blocks the 6-second healer. This healer comes back, and they execute the block again. Same thing happens here with this little red X. Follows Exley so that he ends up behind the healer, so that the 6-second healer gets diagonal alert onto him again. Keep your eye on the 6. This is crazy. Look, he follows him, and he goes from here to here, with this being right there, and he just gets diagonal alert. What the fuck? And he gets a blue. And now Tassos is gonna shoot the blue like I said. And I missed it. I missed a thing too. Here, look at Tassos. He needs to drop the food here or something. Actually, no. I think he soft crashes here. Maybe drop the food. And then he needs to hide from the 30 spawn. So what he's gonna do is he's gonna reach this tile. He can't go behind the cannon. So he doesn't have enough time by one tick. What he can do is he can mithril seed to the west. And because the mithril seeds has priority over the healer targeting. Apparently this is according to B5. when when you if you try to flower, like, you know how the healer range is like up to like this line here. If you try to flower from like this tile to this tile, it doesn't work because we're still gonna aggro you even though the flowers have priority. But this has to do more with, like, this is also the render line. It's also the aggro range line. They're kind of the same thing. But what Tassos is doing here, he's dodging the healer inside the range because the range is like all the way down here. Or, sorry, all the way down there. So this is still in the render range of the healer, but because he's flowering out of sight inside render range, that has priority over the healer targeting, but not when you're outside of render. If you flower outside of render, it's not going to work. It's still going to be on you. And that was tricky, but it works. So Tassos does that. He drops some more food. Boz gets the lure set up, shoot the blue shot. Gets the healer, gets some blugs. I have no idea what this flower's for. Let me see if I can figure out what this flower's for. Wait. So the only thing I could think of is that he needed to like either block this healer like this, or he needed to cause one of these healers on him to like go more east. Maybe like there was a problem where Tassos was gonna get logs, but then this healer would have like bumped him on the way there, so it caused flowers to make it go more west around Tassos to avoid that from happening, so he could just like have it go straight down. We got a healer here from the east I didn't even notice. So we got this healer trapped here, which is intentional. We got additional healers here. I think we got 2 more here. Boz is setting up some kind of lair here. The first one coming from the east. Second one coming from the west, and third one coming from the north. We got more blugs going on here. Actually doesn't have enough food to do the whole thing. So he waits until the X is over at 64, and then Boss goes back to the dispenser and goes to lure the healers even down here. This is the second restock of wave 9, by the way. Oh, 75. That's crazy. So now this looks like 6610, doesn't it? Because there's one problem. you need to be on this line or higher to lure the 6, and Boz is not doing that. Why is that? Because he's gonna do something crazy. He's gonna go all the way east, hide for the 12, and it's gonna cause it to be on. Actually, I need to double check something. Exley cannot hide from this 12-second healer, can he? He literally does. Oh my gosh. I didn't even see this for the first time. So, both Boz and Exley are on this tile simultaneously. And this is a tile that does not have line of sight on this healer, which means that this 12-second is guaranteed to be on Tassos. And you'll see why that's crazy in just 1 second. So Exley's going to poison this healer. This is guaranteed on Tassos. Exley's going to poison that. He's going to go all the way east, keep that lure. Boz is going to trap this from the east-hand side. The 6-second is still on him, by the way. Tassos is going to flower from here to prevent this 18-second from bouncing west. Boz is already standing here. Exley's already standing here. We have the 6-second on Boz that's trapped on Tassos and Exley. We have the 12-second that was guaranteed to be on Tassos, trapped between Boz and Exley. And we have the 18 blocked by literally everybody. Every healer is guaranteed to be on someone. And it's blocked by the 2 other people who it's not on. This is a beautiful wave. And then first ever right click from Exley here. First right click of the whole run on this 24. Had to be done somewhere. Sorry, Tassos. You can't get rid of all of them, I guess. And now we got the 30 block. We got the 30 here. And then Tassos is gonna bring a runner here so that the 30, as it gets lost, is gonna relay on top of these runners. and then Tassos is gonna do something whack here. He flowers there, and then he flowers again. He flowers again to this tile on the tick after Boz leaves, which keeps them trapped. Because because remember, you got 1 flower. You got 2 NPCs. And you got 3, you got Boz. When on the tick that Boz leaves to go from here to here, the NPC already had its turn in the tick. From its perspective, Boz was still standing here. And then when the NPC was done with its perspective, it was Boz's turn, and then he runs here. Then on the next tick, the NPC would get up because the path is clear. But because Tassos is here with the flowers, that has priority over the NPC. So even though Boz leaves on the previous tick, the healers think, oh, the path is clear now. Psych, Tassos comes in with the flower to prevent it from moving. That's so crazy. And then we got the 36 spawn here, and Boz just he's getting out of the range of the 36. This is inside range, this tile here. And then he flowers to go into this tile to prevent it from being in range anymore. Make it guaranteed on Tassos. And Exley was waiting to go to the dispenser this way. So now he was standing like here or something. So that he was also out of range. Because if he went straight south, they wouldn't have been far enough. That's awesome. That's funny too. So Tassos is going to lure all the healers. Boz is going to dodge everything. We got runners going I don't even know where. Boz splits these healers to make it easier for the diagonal lure. He's going to multi. And then we got the triple diagonal with the mushroom here. Yep, we got 1, 2, east-west, and then third one north. Actually, with the full inventory restock, kills everything by about 66. That was... wow. That was very cool. Wave 10. Probably the coolest wave I've seen so far. I think this was an attempted pid check, but they fucked up. I think Exley was supposed to move on the same tick as Boz did this. And so they messed up their pid check. I don't know why you went to Snowball. Snowball is just way easier. Healer just stands here on the green tile. Click just spawns here on the yellow tile. Clip your Snowball. Just throw it at him. He already got the preload. There's no time delay or anything. Tassos should be blocking this queen from the north or something like that. I don't know. But this queen was a regrettable moment. They didn't do the pitch check. They didn't do anything that everybody's already doing. This is like the least advanced part of the entire run. Every other run was like 3 years in the future, and this run was like 2 years in the past. Like this queen kill. It's kind of crazy. That was bad RNG, and Boz fucked up by losing a tick, because they didn't expect the active period to go here. I actually don't understand how the queen... That's crazy. Yeah, this was bad RNG for sure, but it would have been prevented by Tassos standing on the east hand side by blocking the queen. But what can you do? No pid check, so let's take on the pid check. I think it was bad pit on the loading the cannon as well, which is unfortunate, but what can you do there? And there you go. Crazy run. I don't know how well that was, how good of an explanation that was, but that was the best I can do. I'm sure this one's funny. It's like the more you rewatch it, the more stuff you notice that you didn't notice before. It's no wonder it took like a year and a half to make this stuff. Okay, well, thank you for that. That was fun.